Is the Edmonton Oilers' desperate lunge for Ivan Provorov nothing more than a reckless overpay for a fading blue liner who's been exposed as overrated baggage since leaving Philadelphia? A move that'd get our future assets and leave us saddled with cap albatross while ignoring the real defensive cancers like Darnell Nurse's inconsistency and our leaky transition game? That's the blistering hot take scorching through NHL insider circles right now, with analysts like Sean Gentle from The Athletic ripping it as a classic Oilers blunder. Provorov's a shell of his former self, with declining metrics and a bloated contract. Trading picks and prospect for him is franchise suicide, especially when Edmonton's real need is a full blue line overhaul, not another middling top four guy who'll flop under playoff pressure. Welcome back to Oilers Update, your unfiltered torch for the raw, unsparing truth in orange and blue hockey. I'm your host, unleashing the fury this rumor ignites. Today, November 4th, 2025, we're eviscerating the buzz linking us to Columbus Blue Jackets defenseman Ivan Provorov, dismantling why the so-called perfect fit is a trapdoor to disaster that overvalues a declining asset, squanders our limited trade chips, and distracts from the systemic fixes our blue line desperately needs to finally deliver a Stanley Cup in the Mcdavid era. This isn't about hating on a solid pro. It's about brutal reality. Provorov's a risky gamble who's more likely to anchor us down than elevate us, and chasing him screams of GM Stan Bowman's panic rather than strategic genius. Let's charge and shred the illusions and expose why slamming the door on this deal is essential to salvaging our contention window, because in oil country, we chase enough savior defenders that turn into deadweight. It's time to wake up and demand real solutions, not more expensive mistakes. Let's cut the smoke right away, because the rumor mill is spinning this Ivan Provorov pursuit as a masterstroke for the Oilers, but a closer inspection reveals it's built on shaky hype and ignores the glaring red flags that make a potential bust waiting to happen. The news broke from sources like Elliot Friedman on Sportsnet, positioning the 29-year-old Russian as our top defensive target, a top-pair blue liner whose logged heavy minutes, averaging 22.45 per game last season with Columbus, brings durability. He's played 80-plus games in 5 of his 9 NHL seasons, and offers two-way play with 48 points in 2023 to 24. The pitch is that he'd stabilize our second pair, challenge Darnell Nurse, and provide the shutdown presence we've lacked, especially after our defense allowed 2.88 goals per game in last year's finals loss to Florida. With Columbus in rebuild mode, they're for 7-1 this season, last in the Metropolitan with a minus 12 goal differential. They're open to deals, but they demand a king's ransom, a first-round pick, a blue-chip prospect like Philip Broberg or Bo Akey, and perhaps salary retention on Provorov's $6.75 million AAV through 2025, with 2 years left after this one. Insiders like Ryan Rishog from TSN hype it as a now-or-never move to capitalize on Mcdavid, 26 points in 12 games, and Draisaitl's 14 goals, primes, arguing we need a veteran to eat minutes and fix our transition woes. We rank 18th in rush chances allowed at 1.2 per game. But here's where the hot take hits like a slap shot to the gut. This is delusional overvaluation of a defender who's regressed hard since his Philly days, posting a minus 11 rating last year with Columbus and underlying metrics that scream decline. A 48.2% Corsi below average, minus 0.8 expected goals differential per 60, and a dismal .882 on-ice save percentage, per natural stat trick. Gentle's evisceration resonates because it's spot on. Provorov's not the top pair stud anymore. He's a $6.75 million third pair guy on a contender, with declining speed, 20.1 miles per hour top burst, down 8% from his peak, and poor gap control that's gotten exposed on a bad Columbus team. Oilers trading premium assets for him is like buying a lemon at luxury prices. We've started 10-3 with a plus 20 goal differential, but our defense has allowed 29.1 shots per game 14th, and adding Provorov won't fix systemic issues like Nurse's turnovers 1.2 per game or our 22nd ranked penalty kill 78.6%. This rumor feels like Bowman grasping at straws after failing to land bigger fish like Noah Hannafin last deadline, and the hottest debates on 32 Thoughts are unanimous. It's a trap that could cost us a farm for fool's gold. First off, Provorov's supposed two-way excellence is a myth bloated by past hype, and plugging him into our blue line would expose his declining skills in our high-event system. turning a potential strength into a glaring liability that amplifies our existing defensive frailties rather than resolving them. Back in Philly, he was a minute muncher with 41 points in 2019-20, but since the 2023 trade to Columbus, he's devolved into a possession black hole. His on-ice expected goals share has dipped to 46.8% this season, ranking him among the league's worst top four defenders, and he's been on the ice for 58 goals against in 82 games last year, with a -5 rating. His once elite durability is cracking too. He's missed time with minor injuries, and his physicality, 1.8 hits per game, has waned, leaving him vulnerable to forechecks in a fast-paced West where teams like Colorado average 32 shots per game. Pair him with Nurse, and you got a duo that's solid on paper but prone to breakdowns. Provorov's gap control has slipped, allowing 1.4 high danger chances per game on his pairings, per HockeyViz, which would exacerbate our issues against rush teams. We've allowed 12 rush goals this season, 20th in the league. The hot take here, fueled by Gentle and echoed on the Hockey Pedocast, is that Provorov's a product of Philly's structure. In Edmonton's wide-open style, he'll be torched like he was in Columbus, where his -11 rating and .882 on ISSV percent show he's not a stabilizer. He's a symptom of defensive chaos. Compare to successful ads like our own Matthias Ekholm in 2023, who boosted our defense to top 10 with +12 rating and 2.1 blocks per game. Provorov's metrics are closer to Cody Cece's 48.5% Corsi, -3 rating this year. A guy we're trying to move, not clone. The controversy boils over on Reddit's r /hockey, where user savages Oilers overhyping another declining demand. Provorov's speed is gone, and his $6.75 million is a cap killer. We'd be better re-signing Broberg for half the price. It's a valid incineration. Our blue line ranks 12th in expected goals against, 2.3 per game. But Provorov won't elevate that. He'll drag it down, especially in playoffs where his career -15 rating in 26 games shows he wilts under pressure, unlike Ekholm's +8 in last year's run. Chasing him ignores internal fixes like promoting Philip Broberg, who's dominating the AHL with 6 points in 8 games, or tweaking pairings, opting instead for a pricey Band-Aid that could bleed us dry. Second, the astronomical cost of acquiring Provorov makes this a franchise-crippling overpay, forcing us to mortgage our future for a player whose value has plummeted, turning what should be a calculated build into a desperate all-in that leaves our prospect pool barren and cap strangled. Columbus, with Provorov's 2 years left at $6.75 million and no retention, likely without premium compensation, would demand a haul, a 2026 first-round pick, a top prospect like Dylan Holloway or Xavier Bourgault, and perhaps a roster player like Cece to balance salaries. That's highway robbery for a guy who's posted sub 50% possession in 3 straight seasons and carries a contract that's aged like milk amid his decline. The hot take exploding from cap-friendly experts and TSN's Darren Dreger is that this is cap malpractice. Oilers' $17.7 million projection for next year is already tight with Bouchard's extension looming, $9 to $10 million AV. Adding Provorov without retention forces dumping salary, gutting depth, and a return won't justify it when his trade value has tanked since Philly. They got a first for him in 2023, but now it's half that. It's dead on. We depleted our assets in recent years, no first-rounder until 2027 after past deals, and sacrificing more for Provorov echoes the disastrous Keith trade in 2021, $5.5 million for a declining demand who contributed -4 in playoffs. Rivals like Vancouver, who added Philip Ronnick for a first and turned him into a stud, got value. We'd be overpaying for damaged goods. The debated opinion on spittin' Sheeklets is scorching. Provorov's not worth the first anymore. His -11 last year and 1.9 point per 60 are third pair numbers. Oilers should walk away and use assets for a true top pair like Noah Dobson, not this cap trap. It's a brutal truth. Our defense has improved, 2.4 goals against per game, 7th in the league. Thanks to Ekholm and Bouchard, 8 points in 12 games. And blowing the bank on Provorov risks a cap crunch that blocks mid-season tweaks or extensions, leaving us vulnerable if he underperforms. Third, Provorov's fit in Edmonton's system is a recipe for mismatch mayhem. His shutdown style clashing with our high-flying, transition-heavy game, and potentially disrupting the chemistry that's propelled us to a 10-3 start. all while ignoring cheaper, better internal or market options. He's a stay-at-home type with limited offensive upside. His 0.42 points per game career average is pedestrian for a top pair guy, and our rush-oriented attack, 1.7 rush goals per game, second in the league. His below-average outlet passing, 0.8 successful exits per game, could stifle breakouts, leading to more turnovers and shutdowns. The controversy rages on the Hockey Guy YouTube, where the host blasts, Provorov's a square peg in Edmonton's round hole. His heavy minutes, 22:45, come from Columbus desperation, not elite play. In Oilers' up-tempo system, he'll be gassed like he was in Philly's 2020 playoffs, -4 in 16 games. Compared to ideal fits like Brett Kulak's mobility or even targeting Rasmus Anderson from Calgary, who's got 12 points this year, and fits our puck-moving needs. Provorov's more like a poor man's Dmitry Orlov, solid but not dynamic. The hottest takes on Twitter are unanimous. This is Bowman ignoring the obvious. Provorov's defensive metrics have declined 15% since 2021. Fix Nurse's pairing internally instead of overpaying for yesterday's news. It's a damning critique. Our blue line thrives on Bouchard's offense. 2.1 point per 60 and Ekholm's steadiness, and adding Provorov's rigidity could unbalance that, especially in playoffs where his lack of speed gets exploited by forecheckers like Sam Bennett. Projecting forward, biting on Provorov would mortgage our future for marginal gains, locking us into an overpaid defender who doesn't address core issues like transition offense or Nurse's slumps, potentially leaving us cap-strapped and regretting it when cheaper options like reacquiring Tyson Barrie or promoting Broberg yield similar results without the cost. If acquired, he might add 0.5 wins per advanced models, but at the expense of first and prospect, it's a net loss. Our cup odds sit at 18% per money puck, and Provorov won't budge that like a true star would. Columbus might bite if we overpay, but for us, it's a trap. Rivals like Colorado with Cale Makar build through drafts. We'd be depleting ours for fool's gold. The implication is dire. Stagnation in Mcdavid's prime, with fans lamenting what if while Provorov underperforms. Instead, pivot to internal growth. Pair Nurse with promoted prospect and use assets for a forward like Alex Touch.